Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're going to demystify the ultimate financial finish line, the $1 million retirement nest egg. You know, for decades, $1 million has been the gold standard, right? The big goal everyone is racing toward. But what actually happens when you cross that finish line?
Picture this for a second. You finally hit that magical 1 million mark in your savings. You're probably thinking, I made it! But is it time to go buy that yacht? Are we upgrading to first-class flights forever? Heck, maybe you're even considering hiring someone just to tie your shoes for you every morning. It's so easy to just assume that $1 million equals absolute, boundless financial freedom. Well, hold on to your wallet, because when we actually look at the numbers, a pretty harsh reality emerges. And it might just burst that bubble faster than a cheap pool float at a family barbecue. The truth is, $1 million just kind of isn't what it used to be. While your grandfather might have been able to retire like a king with that amount, today, $1 million portfolio is definitely not going to fund that glossy magazine fantasy. Actually, it might barely cover what you'd consider a comfortable, middle-class retirement. Okay, let's dive into this data. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The $1 million myth. 2. The 4% rule. 3. Hidden risks and villains. 4. The Social Security boost. And 5. Making your money last. All right, starting off with Section 1, the $1 million myth, expectation versus reality. Before we even get into the heavy math, we absolutely have to address a massive misconception. So most people think retirement looks kind of like this. You have $1 million in the bank, and you just withdraw whatever your investments earn each year without ever touching the principal. People assume, hey, if my portfolio grows by 12% one year, that's a cool $120,000 to spend. Not bad for doing literally nothing except owning some stocks and bonds, right? But here's where this fantasy crashes into reality like a shopping cart hitting a speed bump. The stock market does not hand out steady paychecks. One year you might soar by 25%, and the next, you drop by 10. Just look at 2018, when the market threw a curveball with negative returns. If you were counting on market gains for your vacation budget that year, poof, it simply disappeared. So if you can't rely on $120,000 from market gains, what's the actual number? Prepare yourself for a stark reality check here. $1 million portfolio actually generates about $40,000 a year to start. I know, that is a massive, dramatic contrast from the whole yacht buying fantasy, isn't it?
Moving right along to Section 2, the 4% rule, finding the sweet spot.
So how in the world do experts arrive at that surprisingly small $40,000 figure? Well, they use the 4% rule. And this isn't just some random number pulled out of thin air. It's actually based on extensive historical market data. But you gotta keep in mind it comes with very specific assumptions. It relies on a conservative 50-50 split between stocks and bonds, and crucially, it's specifically designed to last exactly 30 years.
To really appreciate why experts landed on 4%, let's look at the extremes. On one side, some ultra-conservative advisors suggest a 3% withdrawal. On $1 million, that's $30,000 a year. Now, unless your dream is a steady diet of generic cereal and discount clothing, that's going to be tight. On the other side, riskier advisors suggest 5% or $50,000, which, yeah, feels more like real retirement money, but it dramatically increases your risk of running out of cash completely. So 4% is kind of the mathematically accepted sweet spot.
Okay, so the absolutely crucial point is how this works in practice. Step 1, you withdraw $40,000 in your first year. Step 2, you adjust for inflation. Say inflation is 3%, your year 2 withdrawal bumps up to $41,200. Step 3, you continue adjusting upward every single year. This whole process protects your purchasing power over time so you don't fall behind as the cost of living inevitably rises. Which brings us to Section 3, hidden risks and villains. What threatens your nest egg? Now, if you're planning an early retirement in your 40s or 50s, which is getting incredibly popular, by the way, your money has to last significantly longer than 30 years. So you actually need to be even more conservative. But honestly, no matter when you retire, our first villain is inflation. While you're busy celebrating your $1 million milestone, inflation is working behind the scenes like a pickpocket at a crowded festival. Remember when a candy bar cost 50 cents? Now that exact same candy bar is $2 or more. That is inflation silently draining your purchasing power. Your $1 million today is going to buy significantly less stuff 20 or 30 years from now.
Then we have this major threat known as sequence of returns risk. This is a fancy term that basically describes getting totally unlucky with market timing early in your retirement. If the market crashes right as you start withdrawing, you're selling off assets at the worst possible time just to fund your lifestyle. It's exactly like being forced to sell your house during a hurricane while the roof is leaking and the basement is completely flooded. You just cannot negotiate a good price, and it permanently damages your portfolio's longevity.
And then, of course, there's the unpredictability of human life. The average 65-year-old can expect to live another 18 to 20 years. But remember, that's just an average. Half of people will live longer than that. You might plan for a 20-year retirement and suddenly discover you have 35 years of golf games and early bird specials ahead of you. Outliving your money is a massive, massive risk.
Let's pivot to Section 4, the Social Security Boost, building the income stack.
Okay, if you're feeling a bit stressed right now, take a deep breath. We're going to bring some optimism back into this explainer, because that initial $40,000 we talked about, it's rarely your only source of income. Let's see how this builds an income stack. If we take our $40,000 withdrawal and add the average Social Security benefit, which is currently about $1,800 a month or $21,600 a year, your total income jumps to $61,600. And for a married couple where both claim benefits, you're looking at potentially $83,000 or more per year. Suddenly, that $1 million retirement goes from feeling like basic survival funds to a very reasonable, comfortable middle-class income. Talk about a real game changer.
All right, our final stop, Section 5. Making your money last, strategies and reality checks. You know, it's not just about what you make, it's about what you keep. Taxes, geography, and your lifestyle choices will heavily stretch or shrink that combined income. Let's talk about the government's cut for a second. If your $1 million is in a traditional IRA or 401k, every dollar you withdraw is taxed as ordinary income. But if you've built up a Roth IRA, those withdrawals come out completely tax-free. Most smart retirees have a mix of both. Think of them as different tools in a toolbox, giving you the flexibility to manage your tax burden year by year, depending on exactly what you need.
You also have to navigate major budget variables that grow way faster than general inflation. Geographic cost of living is huge. Some states tax Social Security while others have no income tax at all. Then there's healthcare. Medicare definitely doesn't cover everything, and long-term care is a staggering expense, with nursing homes now averaging over $100,000 a year in many areas. That $1 million portfolio provides the crucial financial flexibility to handle these surprises without completely panicking.
So to figure out if your stack of income is actually enough, experts use the replacement ratio framework. The general rule of thumb is that you need roughly 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your current standard of living. So if you were earning $75,000 a year while working, you'll want to aim for somewhere between $52,000 and $60,000 in retirement. Looking back at our math, our $1 million portfolio plus Social Security hits that target perfectly.
To protect that portfolio and ensure you actually hit your goals, here's some actionable, practical survival strategies. First, maintain a cash buffer of several years of expenses in safe savings. This acts kind of like keeping an umbrella in your car. You can just live off cash during a market downturn instead of selling investments at a loss. Second, consider geographic arbitrage, basically moving to a cheaper state. And third, build diverse income streams through part-time work, rental properties, or dividend stocks to take the pressure off your main portfolio.
So here's the core takeaway of our explainer today. $1 million combined with Social Security gives you roughly $40,000 to $60,000 annually to work with. It's not yacht money, but hey, it's not cat food money either. It provides a really comfortable middle-class existence as long as you manage your expectations rather than clinging to those glossy magazine fantasies.
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope this structure helps you view your own savings with crystal clarity. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Have you calculated your replacement ratio? And is your portfolio truly ready for the reality check? Dive into your numbers, plan your strategy, and I'll see you next time.